Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the star line by an author, filmmaker, actress, playwright, poet, arts educator, storyteller, and daughter. Her book, Through the Banks of the Red Cedar, is now available. We welcome Maya Washington.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Maya, let's go beyond the mic. Your father was a Minnesota Vikings legend and part of the Michigan State football team that changed college football forever. How did football and acting legend Bubba Smith change your dad's life?
Well, in 1963, they were playing against each other on opposing teams. They played against each other in baseball, basketball, and football. Bubba went to Beaumont Charlton Pollard High School, and my dad 100 miles away at George Washington Carver High School. And they had to play in segregated leagues because of the color of their skin. Bubba's father, Willie Ray Smith, had a relationship with Duffy Daugherty at Michigan State, who was actively recruiting Black men right from out of Jim Crow, helping them get to Michigan State. And it was a recommendation that Bubba's father and Bubba gave to Duffy that said, you got to check out this kid, Eugene Washington. And thank goodness Michigan State did.
Now, you have this special time with your father as you create this documentary. It's one of his 3 kids. You get to spend time. But this is like special time while promoting the book. How did your love of your father and his love of you change?
It has just been an incredible later in life surprise, I think, for both of us. And, Bubba Smith passed in 2011, and that's when I first started to hear these stories. And it was so touching to know that they had made such a gesture that changed my dad's life. And I didn't get a chance to thank Bubba. And thought, all this time I've been, creating a film and a book as a means of thanking Bubba. But the continued gift that Bubba Smith keeps giving is this new connection that I have to my father through his love of sport, through his passion, giving back to social justice and seeing inclusion and access. Us getting together through this film and this book has just been amazing. We spend as much, if not more time together than we did when I was a little kid, there's that time, you drive me to school every day or, and then you grow up and you leave home, and to sort of have this chapter where we really spend time with each other, talk on the phone nearly every day. That is a gift that only I can attribute to Bubba Smith, sort of the gift that keeps giving.
Now, how about your love of sports? How has that changed?
I have become that girl who yells at the TV. I will watch football by myself. The thing I never understood about, my dad, he is a very conservative man. So, he has a much better way of using, colorful words that aren't as colorful as the ones that come out of my mouth. He keeps it clean. I sometimes even shock myself at some of the things that came out of my mouth, when I watch football. And so that is a great and hilarious surprise that I am very much plugged in to Michigan State teams right now, certainly the Minnesota Vikings, and just sports as a whole, even though the Spartans weren't in the, the finals for the college football championship, but I was watching it. And, I was up until 2 a.m. California time, thinking, good Lord, for the people on the East Coast, and then in the Midwest who are trying to watch this game.
Exactly.
It is night and day. I was a person who maybe, if he got invited to a fight party or a Super Bowl party, or, I would always jump at the chance to go see a game or hang out. But now I'm actually, I think I get y'all. I think I get, I get it now.
Has your fear of CTE affected your family and your dad?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it is, the elephant in the room, as I write about in the book, for any football family. We would not be truthful if we didn't, say that it is something that we are concerned about. And I'm just so grateful that the science has evolved, that we know what it is. For years and years, people didn't know, why there might be changes in their loved ones or various illnesses or medical conditions that were occurring. So frightening as it is, I feel just really grateful that we have the science and we have the information that, unfortunately, some of my dad's predecessors didn't have. I know Bubba Smith brain was donated to the study, to the brain bank. So he keeps giving gifts, you know. That gift is continuing to help other players in the future and help families like mine, you know, kind of feel like we're eyes wide open in terms of what the next chapter, you know, of our life could be like, and to have compassion and pay attention to older players and their challenges, and even younger players. You know, sometimes there's guys in their 30s.
True.
You know, who are affected by this, and certainly veterans as well.
Author of Through the Banks of the Red Cedar, Maya Washington joins us beyond the mic, and it's time for the Rocking 8. 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There is no pressure. Favorite sporting event you've ever attended?
Rose Bowl with my dad, Spartans, 2014.
Do you always wear identical socks?
Most days.
When you were a kid, which posters did you have on your wall?
Ballerina seats.
How about a favorite movie director?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That could get me in trouble. I gotta take the silent on that one. It could get me in trouble.
Taking the 5th on the Rocking 8. Sheesh. If you could have been a track star, what distance would you have liked to win at?
100. I would have been a sprinter.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Maya, could you live without electricity for a week?
Probably.
What's your greatest fear?
Not giving my best.
If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app. It's time for One Big Question with author Maya Washington, author of Through the Banks of the Red Cedar, Beyond the Mic. So many of the games during your dad's times were only captured on film. As preservation projects digitize these events, what are your emotions being able to watch your dad play when you were never able to live?
I mean, I'm so incredibly grateful that the film exists. It's surreal. You know, it's not quite the same, the caliber of the footage. You don't have those like mechanical cameras sweeping the field, you know. Usually it's just kind of one or two angles, but I'm so grateful that it exists, and I'm grateful that the timing of his career coincided with a lot of advancements in film, and us being able to actually see these games. It's amazing.
How do you see the issue of name, image, likeness as if it was available for your dad to take advantage of?
Well, I think it would have made an incredible difference. But again, you know, his career in college and the pros spanned from, 1963 to about 1975. And so if you just look at that chapter in history, how much the sport evolved and how much college football and even the pros became a really money-making industry. But certainly college football now is nothing like what it was in my dad's day. And so had that been available to him, I think it would have made a great difference. And, even today, as much as I'm grateful to the support I have gleaned from the Big Ten Conference, the Pac-12, the Rose Bowl, the NFL film licensing divisions, to make it possible for me to share the film on PBS coming up in February. When I first, started this process, I still had to license my dad's image. I had to license those materials, and pay for them. And my dad doesn't actually see any of that revenue. And so you think about the fact that people, every day are utilizing people's image and likeness and these old films and these old footage and photographs that are managed by these conferences and other entities, that sometimes the subjects of those assets don't actually see the compensation. So I think it's an exciting conversation.
It's just other people.
For sure.
She's afraid of not giving her best, wears identical socks most of the time, and can't wait for her documentary, Through the Banks of the Red Cedar, to be shown on PBS. We thank author Maya Washington for taking the time to talk with us today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut.